Mathematical proof-style case for Jesus as God. Mathematics is usually thought of as the science of numbers, equations, and proofs. It deals with things we can measure, count, or deduce with perfect certainty. Theology, on the other hand, is often seen as a matter of faith, belief, and revelation. Skeptics and atheists typically separate the two domains. Math belongs to reason, theology belongs to belief. But that is an oversimplification. At its heart, mathematics is about truth structures. It asks, what follows from certain premises? If you accept 2 + 2 = 4, then no matter who you are, where you live, or what your worldview is, the conclusion is universal. Similarly, theology, when stripped of denominational presuppositions, often involves claims about reality that can be logically tested. For example, if God exists, he must be infinite. If only God can forgive sins, and Jesus forgave sins, then logically, Jesus must be God. If the probability of a man fulfilling dozens of specific prophecies is effectively 0, then the hypothesis, Jesus is just a man, collapses under probability theory. This shows that while we may not prove Jesus is God the way we prove the Pythagorean theorem, we can use mathematical reasoning to create a logical, probability-based, and identity-driven case. This makes sense to a skeptic or atheist because it is not dependent on faith authority, but on logical necessity. 2. Defining God in mathematical philosophical terms. Before proving whether Jesus, is God, we must define what we mean by God. If God is undefined, then the proof has no target. Skeptics often reject biblical definitions, so we need a philosophical mathematical definition acceptable in secular reasoning. We will define God using necessary attributes that philosophers, including atheists and skeptics, can acknowledge as at least the concept of God: infinite, without beginning or end, unlimited in scope. Necessary being, cannot not exist. Everything else depends on him. Omniscient, full knowledge of all things. Omnipotent, full power, subject to no limitation. Moral authority, the ultimate standard of right and wrong. Uniqueness, only one being can hold all these attributes at once. In set theory language, we can say, let G as X has all infinite, necessary, omniscient, omnipotent, moral attributes. By definition, G is a set with only one possible member. So the question becomes, does Jesus belong to G? 3. Defining Jesus in historical logical terms. Skeptics may reject the Bible as divine authority, but most historians, even atheist or agnostic ones, accept certain minimal facts about Jesus. Existence. Jesus of Nazareth was a real historical figure in the 1st century. Teachings. He taught with unusual authority, often claiming unique identity. Claims. He claimed prerogatives that in Jewish culture belonged only to God, forgiving sins, calling himself I am. Crucifixion. He was executed under Roman authority. Resurrection. Claim, his followers proclaimed his resurrection shortly after his death, to the point of martyrdom. For our purposes, we don't need to assume the skeptic accepts resurrection as a fact. Instead, we will frame Jesus as RX is a historical figure who claimed divine prerogatives, influenced billions, and is the unique center of Christian theology. This minimal set avoids assuming inspiration of Scripture while still establishing Jesus as a unique case study. 4. Why skeptics should accept the framework. Skeptics may object, this is still theology. But notice, the definition of God is philosophical, not sectarian. Even Richard Dawkins, though rejecting God, defines him as an infinite, omnipotent being. The definition of Jesus is historical, not devotional. No serious historian denies his existence or influence. Mathematics, logic, and probability do not require belief. They require consistency. So a skeptic can accept the premises of this framework, without yet accepting the conclusion. This puts them in the position where they must wrestle with the reasoning rather than dismiss it outright. 5. Structure of the proof. Approach. We will treat this entire case like a mathematical proof with definitions, theorems, and corollaries. Definition: a clear statement of a concept. Theorem: a claim we will prove from definitions and prior theorems. Corollary: a conclusion that flows directly from a theorem. Example: preview from later sections. Definition: only God can forgive sins, axiom accepted within Jewish and Christian philosophy. Theorem: Jesus forgave sins, historical record not easily denied. Corollary: therefore Jesus holds a prerogative unique to God. By building dozens of such theorems, we can show that mathematically and logically, Jesus repeatedly lands in set G, God. 6. Addressing the skeptic's possible objections. But you're smuggling in the Bible. Response: we're using the Bible only as a historical record of claims, just as we use Tacitus, Josephus, or Suetonius. We do not demand it be accepted as divine. God is undefined, so the proof is meaningless. Response: we've defined God in purely philosophical terms: infinity, necessity, uniqueness. A skeptic may reject God's existence, but cannot deny that if God exists, he must meet these definitions. Mathematics cannot prove metaphysics. Response: true. But mathematics can expose contradictions, improbabilities, and logical necessities. This is exactly what we are doing, showing that the hypothesis, Jesus is not God, collapses under mathematical reasoning.